This is the second video focusing on passive verbs in Latin, and in this video we're going to be looking at the perfect, the future perfect and the pluperfect passives. Now the perfect passive is actually very easy to spot in a sentence. It always comes in two parts. So my first sentence, amata est, amo very obviously a verb, amata est, it's in two bits, so I know that's a passive verb. It's also worth remembering at this point that we said that whenever we get an a, meaning by, in Latin, that's also a very good clue that we're going to have a passive sentence. So puella a matre, and in the second sentence, servus a domino. So I'm fairly sure it's going to be passive if I've got by the mother and by the master in the sentence. How do I translate this? Well, the perfect passive is in many ways the most common passive. The girl was loved by her mother. In the second sentence, servus a domino irato captus est, the slave was captured by his angry master. So the best translation of the perfect passive, was loved and was captured. Let's have a quick look at how we make those. You might remember that this is how we made the past participle passive. We took the fourth principal part and we made it into an adjective like bonus. So amatum becomes amatus and captum becomes captus. If it was by itself, it would be the perfect participle passive, and amatus would be having been loved and captus would be having been captured. But what we're going to do is to add it to the verb to be. So sum es est, sumus estis sunt is the present tense of sum. Amatus sum, I was loved, amatus es, etc. So amatus est, he was loved. Captus est, he was captured. Now we do need to remember that amatus is an adjective. It works like an adjective anyway. As a participle, it can change its ending. So I can see here, amatus are us is my masculine ending. So when I translate that, I get he was loved. Amatus is masculine, and so it's he. But my second one, amata, well that's the same ending as puella, that's a feminine ending. So I would translate that as she was loved. Amatum, well that's a neuter ending, and so that's going to be it was loved. And of course, if I had a masculine subject, the boy, pua amatus est. If I had a feminine subject, puella amata est, the girl was loved. And if I had a neuter subject, somewhat unlikely perhaps, bellum amatum est, the war was loved, and my verb would agree with my subject. When we come to plurals, it's not so important because in English, they is the same gender for both. So they were loved, masculine, and they were loved, feminine. When I add the present tense to amatus, we've just seen that I get the perfect passive. So if I add est to amatus, I get the perfect passive tense. He was loved. If instead of adding est, I add erat, which is the imperfect tense of sum, I would get amatus erat, and that would be the pluperfect passive. He had been loved. If I took the future tense of sum, so erit by itself is he will be, but if I add it to amatus, I get the future perfect passive. And I get this very, very uncommon verb, amatus erit, he will have been loved. Obviously, of those, amatus est and amatus erat are much, much more common. Finally, please remember that using a or ab in a sentence is a very good clue that you have a passive sentence. Puelai a matre visai sunt must be the girls were seen by their mother. As long as you remember to translate a matre by their mother correctly, it's hard to get the sentence wrong.